Imagine, just for a second, building a whole city. Not just, a few buildings, but a massive city for millions, completely from scratch. What if I told you the world's largest planned city isn't some sci-fi dream, but it's right there, thriving in India? It's a city born, really, out of sheer necessity. A huge solution to a massive urban problem. Today, we're doing a deep dive into Navi, Mumbai, India. It's a genuinely fascinating story of urban planning on, well, an epic scale. We've got a stack of sources, articles, research, historical bits, architectural plans that we're going to unpack. Our mission here is to really understand how you meticulously design a city from the ground up. What were the big ideas? And crucially, what happens when those grand plans, those almost utopian visions, meet the messy reality of, well, life? Can you truly engineer a city?
Absolutely. And to get why Navi Mumbai even exists, you have to look back at Mumbai itself, maybe mid-20th century. India's financial powerhouse was facing a really urban crisis, an existential one, you could say. It was literally bursting at the seams. Mumbai's geography is unique. It's basically a narrow peninsula, islands fused together, so growth could only go one way, north. Rigid,
Kind of
monodirectional.
breathing through a straw.
Exactly, which led to nightmare traffic, huge slums popping up, no open space, quality of life just plummeting. It wasn't just about logistics, it was structural. The city's very shape was the problem.
Okay, let's unpack that pressure cooker a bit. Our sources talk about this huge wave of migration to cities after independence, and Mumbai was like magnet number one. But no room to spread out, right? So everything gets crammed onto that north-south line, grueling commutes, just hours long.
Mm-hmm. And the lack of affordable housing was critical. It directly fueled the growth of those informal settlements, putting immense strain on everything: water, sanitation, power.
So the realization dawned. Mumbai needed an alternative, a twin city maybe, something across the creek to act as a, what do they call it, a countermagnet.
Precisely, a countermagnet. And what's really interesting is this idea didn't just appear overnight. It built up over like 25 years of thinking and planning. People were proposing solutions way back in 1945. Key reports in the 50s laid groundwork, like suggesting a bridge across Thane Creek in 59. That was huge.
Ah, okay, so the bridge idea was early.
Yeah. But the real catalyst, the compelling blueprint, came in 1965. An article by architects Charles Correa, Pravina Mehta, and engineer Shirish Patel, Bombay Planning and Dreaming.
Catchy title.
It really provided the push, led to new planning acts, and by 1970, the government officially greenlit New Bombay, as it was first called.
And that leads us to CIDCO, City and Industrial Development Corporation of Maharashtra Limited, incorporated March 17th, 1970. This sounds like more than just a planning department, a new town development authority, special planning authority, comprehensive powers. What did that actually mean for them on the ground? How powerful were they?
It was an unparalleled mandate, really. CIDCO wasn't just building suburbs. The goal was a true countermagnet. It had to absorb new migrants, yes, but also pull people and businesses out of Mumbai.
So not just a bedroom community.
Definitely not. It had to be a self-sufficient city, its own jobs, its own economy, its own infrastructure, everything. So they took on this monumental task: acquire 344 square kilometers of land
Wow.
and basically implement a master plan from zero. Nothing like it had been attempted in post-independence India. It shows this incredible faith in large-scale, rational planning to shape a whole society.
That scale is just hard to wrap your head around.
Yeah.
And the master plan itself, it was a complete break from Mumbai's model, wasn't it? A different vision entirely.
Utterly different. Mumbai's problem was that single center, that CDD, creating those awful commutes. So Navi Mumbai's planners went for a polycentric model. Think of it like a bunch of grapes.
A bunch of grapes.
Yeah, multiple centers, multiple nodes or townships, each one semi-autonomous with its own housing, jobs, shops, schools. The idea was to spread everything out.
Okay, so decentralized.
Exactly. Decentralize the pressure, shorten commutes, make traffic flow in multiple directions, not just funneling into one spot. Create a more resilient city economically, too. It's really smart urban design shaping daily life.
And I see the modernist influence here, too. That systematic approach, single-use zoning. Living here, working there, recreation somewhere else, and the grid system for sectors. Very orderly.
Very. Clear lines, clear functions. It aimed for efficiency.
Yeah.
But you're right, that functionalist approach, it did create a tension with, say, the more traditional Indian pattern of mixed-use neighborhoods, where shops and homes and workshops are all jumbled together.
Right. Now, beyond the physical layout, this is also about social goals, wasn't it? Social engineering, almost.
Very much so. The 1975 draft plan aimed for 2 million people initially, maybe 4 million eventually, and a key principle was social equity. They planned for diverse housing in each node: low-income group, LIG, economically weaker sections, EWS, middle-income, MIG, high-income, HIG. The goal was genuinely integrated communities, not rich areas and poor areas separated.
A noble goal. But did it work? Did sorting people by income bracket actually create mixed communities? Or did it, maybe ironically, end up creating new kinds of segregation?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And later critiques suggest while it didn't quite work out as planned, that categorization, especially once market forces really kicked in with economic liberalization,
Ah, the market effect.
yeah, it often led to spatial segregation anyway, and the promise of affordability. It got eroded by market forces, as one source puts it. What started as a tool for equity kind of became, well, an unequal instrument.
So a tough lesson there. Grand plans meet economic reality.
It happens. It shows that planning isn't just drawing lines on a map, it's navigating these complex forces.
Okay, so how did this huge vision actually get built? You don't just snap your fingers and create a city. Our sources suggest it was phased, driven by transport links.
Absolutely. Phased development, node by node. And transport was key. It kicked off in the north, closer to Mumbai. That Thane Creek Bridge opened in '72. That was the catalyst. It physically connected the mainland.
Open the door.
Pretty much. Vashi was the first node out of the gate. Conceived as the king, the main commercial hub, you got the big agricultural market, the APMC, and Infotech Park later on.
Right, Vashi. I know Vashi.
Then CBD Belapur, the administrative center. Konkan Pavan, the state government offices, were there early 1972. And Nerul developed from '81, more residential, the Queen, to Vashi's king, you could say.
King and Queen, okay.
And by 1992, these northern nodes were developed enough that the Navi Mumbai Municipal Corporation, NMMC, was formed to actually take over running and maintaining them from CIDCO.
Got it. So the north develops first, then the focus shifts south. What triggered that expansion?
The big trigger was the railway. The Mankad-Vashi suburban train line started running in May 1992. That was a massive game changer.
The local train.
Yeah.
Lifeline of Mumbai.
And soon, Navi Mumbai too. It suddenly made commuting from further south feasible for thousands. So nodes like Kargar took off. Kargar was designed as a planned masterpiece.
Yeah.
Huge area, 14.5 square kilometers, wide roads, tons of green space, big focus on education hubs.
And the building process changed too, right? Less CIDCO doing everything.
Yeah, there was a shift. CIDCO still did the master planning and the major infrastructure, but private builders came in much more strongly to actually construct the housing and commercial spaces, a public-private partnership model.
Which probably sped things up.
It did. It accelerated development, especially catering to that aspirational young middle-class population looking for a better quality of life than crowded Mumbai.
And now even further south, Galway, Dronagiri, the emerging frontier, as our sources call it. What's driving growth there?
Mega projects. Plain and simple. The absolute centerpiece is the new Navi Mumbai International Airport, NMAA, being built in Ulwe. That's transformative.
Huge deal.
Massive. And alongside it, you've got the Navi Mumbai Special Economic Zone, NMSCZ, and CIDCO is planning this huge 667-acre Erosity offices, hotels, logistics, all centered around the airport.
So an airport city.
Essentially. And CIDCO even started selling land in Dronagiri again after an 18-year pause. It's a clear signal. They're pushing to connect Navi Mumbai to the global economy, build this whole new economic ecosystem in the south.
Okay, beyond the big plans and infrastructure, let's talk about the look and feel, the architecture. How does Navi Mumbai's story show up in its buildings?
Oh, it definitely does. The architecture really tells the story of its evolution. Early on, you have the huge influence of Charles Correa, who was also one of the key planners.
Right, the famous architect.
He championed what's called critical regionalism, basically modern architecture, but adapted to the local climate and culture, not just blindly copying the West. His designs used traditional Indian elements, courtyards, verandas for natural cooling, lots of open-to-sky spaces to build community. His low-cost housing in Belapur is a classic example, dignified, affordable, community-focused.
And Raj Rewal's housing project in Belapur, too, from the late 80s, early 90s. That sounds fascinating, over 1,000 low-cost homes.
Yes, and done really thoughtfully. He used a pedestrian vocabulary, meaning the design prioritized walking, human-scale interaction, low-rise buildings, but densely packed around courtyards and shaded walkways, very sensitive to the hilly site.
And they could be expanded.
That was the clever part. The upper floors were set back, creating terraces, allowing families to add rooms incrementally as their needs grew. Really humane, practical design.
So that's the early more idealistic phase, how did it change?
Well, as the city matured and the economy liberalized, the style evolved. State-led modernism gave way to a more market-driven landscape. So in the 21st century, you start seeing the high-rise towers, the glass and steel office buildings, especially in places like Vashi and Belapur.
Reflecting that economic shift.
Exactly. The architecture becomes a visual marker of Navi Mumbai integrating into the wider, more globalized economy.
What about major public buildings? Do they try to make a statement, create civic symbols?
Definitely. Look at the NMMC headquarters, the municipal building in Belapur, finished in 2014. It's big, it's circular, symbolizing equality, accessibility, lots of glass for transparency. It also pushed engineering boundaries. It has this massive world record roof beam, and it got a LEED Gold rating for sustainability. It's designed to be a landmark, a statement about the city's identity.
And the railway stations, you mentioned they were designed as gateways.
Yes, CIDCO brought in big-name architects. Turbus Station by Hafiz Contractor has this absolutely enormous 84-meter-long arched roof covering everything. It's meant to be a grand, modern, civic symbol welcoming you.
Wow.
And Vafishi Station, back in '92, did something really innovative. They built the station platforms, then cast a huge concrete deck over the tracks, and built a whole commercial complex on top.
Over the track.
Right over them. It was a clever way to use the land above the railway line, capture that value, and help fund more development. A really pioneering model for transit-oriented development in India.
So, thinking about the whole experience, they also built places specifically for trade and culture.
They did. You've got the CIDCO Exhibition Center in Vashi for big trade shows and events, and the Urban Hut in Belapur, that's more of an open-air market space designed to promote local crafts, food, cultural performances. It shows they were thinking about creating a complete city, you know?
Yeah.
Not just roads and houses, but spaces for commerce, art, and community life as well.
It really drives home how infrastructure was the absolute catalyst here, unlocking land, connecting nodes, driving growth. But sometimes these huge projects, they can have ripple effects, right? Maybe unintended ones.
That's a really important point. The foundational arteries were crucial, no doubt. The Sine-Panvel Highway, 10 lanes wide, gave essential road access. But that suburban rail link, Mankur to Vashi in '92, that was the real turning point for mass settlement in the south. It made living further out practical. This transit-first approach, building transport alongside development, was key to its success.
Okay, now let's talk about the new links, the really transformative ones.
Top of the list has to be the Mumbai Trans-Harbour Sea Link MTHL, or Atal Setu, opened just this year, January 2024.
The Sea Link, right? Everyone's talking about it.
And for good reason. It's nearly 22 kilometers long across the harbor. It cuts the travel time from South Mumbai to Navi Mumbai from maybe 2 hours down to 20 minutes.
20 minutes, that's incredible.
It fundamentally changes the game. It makes that connection, that original 1960s vision of linking the island city to the mainland across the water, a reality. It redraws the mental map of the region.
And there's the metro, too. The first line's running now.
Yes, Line 1 is operational in Navi Mumbai itself. And the plans are ambitious, a whole network, eventually 6 lines connecting key nodes, and crucially, linking up to the new airport.
Which brings us back to the airport, NMIA, the next economic engine.
Exactly. Designed by the famous Zaha Hadid architects, projected to handle eventually up to 90 million passengers a year. It's not just an airport. It's the anchor for this whole new economic zone, the Aerocity, the SEZ logistics hubs.
So a shift from just being a countermagnet to Mumbai to being a major economic hub in its own right.
That's the strategy. But here's the potential paradox you touched on earlier. All this amazing connectivity, especially the MTHL, making it so easy to get to Mumbai. Does it risk undermining Navi Mumbai's self-sufficiency?
Could it just become a supercommuter suburb?
It's a valid concern. It might inadvertently reinforce Mumbai's dominance, create this class of supercommuters, and turn parts of Navi Mumbai into that bedroom community the original planners explicitly tried to avoid. It raises this fascinating question about connectivity versus independence for satellite cities.
Something to watch. Okay, let's shift gears a bit. One thing that really seems to define Navi Mumbai, especially compared to older cities, is its focus on green spaces and environmental planning.
Oh, absolutely. It was baked into the plan from the start. Take Central Park in Kargar. It's enormous, 290 acres, one of the biggest urban parks in Asia.
290 acres.
Yeah, conceived as the city's green lungs. Gardens, jogging tracks, an amphitheater. It's a very deliberate statement about balancing density with accessible nature, prioritizing quality of life.
And it's not just manicured parks, right? Our sources mention coastal guardians. What's that about?
That refers to the mangrove forests along Thane Creek. They're ecologically vital natural protection against storms and erosion. And instead of just ignoring them or destroying them, there's an effort now to protect and even showcase them. The Forest Department is creating mangrove parks in Airoli and Ghonsoli.
Mangrove parks, how does that work?
With elevated wooden boardwalks, information centers, it's about conservation, but also education and ecotourism, letting people experience this unique ecosystem safely while following all the coastal regulations. It treats the mangroves as an asset.
That sounds quite forward-thinking. Engineering with nature, as one source put it.
It really is. The original plan was quite sophisticated ecologically. They had designed networks of holding ponds to manage monsoon rainwater, preventing flooding, and they preserved many of the natural stream channels, letting them run through the city as green corridors.
Smart. Helps with drainage and keeps things cooler.
Exactly. Reduces the urban heat island effect, improves air quality. But it's crucial to add a dose of reality here. Despite these excellent plans, the green spaces face constant pressure.
It's from
Pollution, illegal encroachment, the sheer demands of more development. Protecting these green assets is an ongoing battle, even with the best intentions laid out decades ago.
Right. The perpetual conflict. Okay, so let's try to pull this all together. After more than 50 years, Navi Mumbai, it's this huge experiment in city building. What's the verdict?
Well, looking back, you have to say it's been remarkably successful in many ways. Compared to Mumbai, the quality of life is generally higher, the infrastructure is better planned, density is lower, there's less pollution, more green space. It really did fulfill many of its original goals. The social infrastructure, schools, hospitals is quite robust too. It offered a much more organized, less chaotic urban experience for millions.
But like any grand project, there are always critiques. The planning versus reality check. What didn't go according to plan?
Well, even with all the planning, you still see the emergence of unplanned settlements, slums. It shows that even the best plans struggle to accommodate everyone, especially the labor force needed to build and service the city.
And the affordability issue we talked about.
That's a major one. The original dream of widespread affordable housing got seriously challenged by rising land values and the real estate market, especially after economic liberalization. It became largely a middle-class city.
But what about the original villages that were there before? The Gathans?
That's another critique. Some argue the top-down modernist planning didn't integrate well with the existing villages on the land. It sometimes created disconnects, spatial and social inequalities between the planned city and the older settlements within it. Again, those unintended consequences.
So what's the road ahead now? Navi Mumbai isn't new anymore. It's a mature city. How is it planning for the future?
CIDCO's thinking has shifted. Their Comprehensive Mobility Plan, CMP 2054, isn't about building from scratch anymore. It's about managing this large, complex, growing urban region. The focus is heavily on integrated public transport, that big six-line metro network connecting everything, especially the airport. And future economic growth is clearly pinned on those southern nodes. The airport, Aerocity, a planned corporate park, Medicity, logistics hubs.
So a definite pivot towards services, logistics, global connectivity. Less focus on manufacturing, maybe?
Seems that way. It reflects how the economy has changed and how Navi Mumbai is adapting its role within the larger region and indeed the world.
It feels like Navi Mumbai's biggest legacy, perhaps, is how it's changed the whole idea of Mumbai itself. It started as a countermagnet, but now
It's arguably an indispensable part of the whole Mumbai metropolitan region, maybe even a co-equal hub in a genuinely polycentric urban area, which was, in a way, the original dream, just realized differently over time.
it's an incredible story. The sheer ambition, the complexity, the successes, the challenges, a living laboratory for urban planning.
It really is. And perhaps the thought to leave listeners with is this. As Navi Mumbai keeps evolving, it keeps integrating. What lessons from its journey, from that initial bold, almost utopian vision, through all the realities and adaptations, can inform how we plan cities globally in the future? Especially as urban pressures just keep mounting everywhere. What can we learn from this grand experiment?
A profound question indeed. It's been fascinating diving into this. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive into the anatomy of Navi